Hi everyone, it's LPS Lollipop Productions here, and welcome back to another video. It's been a while since I did a tag here on my channel, so I thought that today it would be fun to do the LPS Collection Tag. I'm pretty sure this was created by MamaKat. The original video is no longer up, so I can't really confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that's who made it. And I will be writing all of the questions in the description in case you would like to take this tag yourself. But I say we get started with the first question. Question number 1 in the tag is, how many LPS do you own? And I actually don't know the answer to this because I kind of suck at keeping track of that. But I did count my LPS a few months ago now, I think. Probably more than a few months now. What month is it? It was like at least 7 months ago, okay? But back then, I had somewhere in the mid-500s, I believe. But if I had to guess, I probably have around 600 now, because I have gotten some new LPS since then. Question 2 is, what are your top 5 favorite LPS? I'm going to take this to mean the top 5 favorites that are in my collection. And oh my god, that's such a hard question for me to answer. I feel like my favorite LPS, there's some that are consistent, but others, I feel like I always fall in love with other ones so quickly. It really depends on my mood. But I'll try to choose 5 of my favorites, but I can't promise that they're my top 5. Alright, so right now at this very moment, I went to my LPS shelf and chose 5 LPS that I'm just feeling especially drawn to today. So probably even like a week from now this is gonna be crazy inaccurate. But today my top 5 favorites would have to be this short hair here. She's always one of my favorite LPS, so this one's gonna stay consistent. I just love this one. This Cocker Spaniel, this Husky, this Beagle, and finally this Bonbon Cat. And that is of course excluding both Candy and Macy, because of course I love both of them so much, but I feel like for one, Macy's my mascot, so it would be unfair to include her. Candy used to be my mascot and she has so much sentimental value that it would just be an unfair game, okay? Question number 3 is another hard one, and that is, what are your top 5 least favorite LPS? I don't think that within my collection I could choose a top 5 least favorites, but I will say that I'm not really a fan of some of the later generation LPS, particularly the ones from around 2013, maybe 2012. And also, I don't like most of the LPS that have hair. I like the cats, I think the cats are adorable, but all of the others I'm not really a big fan of their look. The 4th question is, which LPS is your current mascot? And that would be the LPS that I'm using right now, this Angora cat. And her name is Macy, as I kind of said earlier. I just love this LPS so much. The sparkles, the colors, the flowers, everything about this design is absolutely adorable and she makes me so happy. Question number 5 is, which LPS was your last mascot? And again, I kind of answered this earlier, but that would be Candy. And I've only had 2 mascots ever on my channel. Candy was my first one. I had this channel started in 2015, and she was my mascot until I quit in 2018, but then when I returned last year, Macy became my mascot. Question number 6 is, how much is the most that you have ever spent on LPS? And I'm not sure if this means lots and singular LPS, but if we're talking for a single LPS, the most that I've spent is probably about $8. I don't think I've ever gone over that. Maybe 10, but I don't think I would have gone over $8 to $10. And if we're talking LPS lots, the most I've ever spent on a lot is about $100. But before you kill me, it had over 100 LPS, and for a lot that size, and it had some good pets in it, it was a pretty good deal. Question 7 is, what is the best deal that you've gotten on LPS? My answer to that would definitely be when I got LPS for 50 cents last year. And basically what happened there is, there was this store near me and they had some old LPS there, and they were being sold for about $1, I think. but my grandma managed to convince them to lower the price to 50 cents for me, so I was able to pick a bunch of LPS out for 50 cents each, and it was such a great day. I was so happy. Question 8 is, where do you store your LPS? And I'll go show you right now. Might be a little hard to see what this is, it just looks like a white wall, but this is my closet. And that side there is reserved for clothing, and on this side, if I open it up, da, da, da. I don't know what that sound effect was, that was pretty sad. But as you can see, we have these shelves, and here on the top shelf I store all of my cats and dogs, and there's not really any fancy way of doing this, I just line them up by their breed, and I think they look pretty nice in there, if I do say so myself. And then on the lower shelf, I keep all of my other LPS molds, and the same sort of deal with those. And I also keep all of my babies and teensies there, and some sticky tack, ignore that. Yeah, but also on the other side, where my clothes are, I have a couple of baskets, and those baskets have some props in them. But aside from that, they also have LPS that I'm selling on my Etsy, so those are doubles or new generation pets. But yeah, I kind of love this closet. Excuse the mess you're about to see, but I store some sets up there, and then down there I keep all of my clothing accessories and just other messes. Those are new generation pets that I do want to keep. Yeah, excuse the mess in some areas, but that's where my LPS stuff lives. Question number 9 is, what will you do with your LPS when you stop playing with them? So, I kind of stopped playing with my LPS already, like 4 years ago or something. Okay, so basically, around, I think probably late 2017, maybe mid to late 2017, I started losing interest in playing with my LPS a little bit. I guess by that point, I was still playing with them a lot, but definitely when 2018 hit, I was really not enjoying it as much. I still liked playing with my LPS, but it wasn't enjoyable for me alone. I only liked doing it if I had a friend over. But because of that, I quit LPS Tube a bit later that year, and in the time that I wasn't on LPS Tube, I held on to my LPS, but they were in my basement, so I didn't ever see them. And my intention was to sell them once I felt ready, but I'm glad that I didn't sell them because obviously I'm back. I don't play with my LPS, I just film videos, so I use them as characters, I write scripts, I take photography with them. And when I eventually grow out of this and move on to something new, I'm not quite sure what I'll do with my LPS. I don't think I would be ready to sell them right away. I would probably want to hang on to them at least for a while. There are some that I definitely would want to keep, like forever. I don't think I would want to part with them. But maybe for LPS that I don't use as much, I would sell them, and then the ones that mean something to me, I would hold on to. And then question number 10 sort of contradicts the last one, and that is, what do you say to people who think you play with LPS? And this hasn't actually really happened to me, not since I was younger and I did play with my LPS. But I think that if somebody thought that I played with LPS, if I told them that I had a YouTube channel or something, I would just basically explain it to them. Because really, like, all I can do is tell them the truth, and if they don't believe me, they don't believe me. I might compare the hobby to something like puppeteering? I don't know. Like, obviously puppeteering takes a lot more skill than LPS Tube does. But the idea of using something like a puppet, which is often associated with children, doesn't mean that the hobby is childish, right? Question 11 is, where do you get your LPS accessories? And for that, I don't really buy LPS accessories, just because I feel like they're pretty overpriced a lot of the time. Like, it'd be $5 for an LPS jacket, and I could literally buy myself a t-shirt for $5. Like, I'm not gonna buy LPS clothes for the same price I could for myself. That's ridiculous. So because a lot of the accessories that I have are from when I was younger when it comes to clothing accessories and furniture for that matter. But I also make a lot of my accessories, so that's the other side of that. So question number 12 is, is, how did you discover LPS? And I've known about LPS for literally as long as I can remember. I received some as a Christmas gift when I was very, very little, so I've always remembered having them around. But as for LPS Tube itself, my cousin introduced it to me. It's kind of funny because I remember it fairly clearly. Obviously there's some details I forget, but I'll paint a picture for you. Basically we were talking, and somehow the topic of if I prefer LPS or MLP comes up, but I had never heard LPS referred to as LPS. I only knew Littlest Pet Shop. So I asked her, what is LPS? And then she acts like I'm stupid. She's like, oh, it's Littlest Pet Shop, duh. And then we go home because we were away from home, and she shows me LPS Tube, and I fell in love. Let's say LPS quickly became my favorite. Question number 13 is, who is your favorite LPS tuber? And I love so many LPS tubers, I don't think it's fair to pick just one. Everyone has such high production quality right now, and it just always impresses me so much. But if we're talking big, classic LPS tuber inspirations, I'll name those. So those for me would definitely be LPS Hannah, LPS Lover, and Go Green Girl. Number 14 asks me to show you the most recent LPS that I received. I purchased these two LPS locally a few weeks ago, probably a month ago now actually, and they were each $5. Question number 15 is, do I have any LPS coming in the mail? And no, I am not waiting on any LPS. Question number 16 is, where do you get your LPS? And as I kind of just said, I get most of my LPS locally. So by that I mean occasionally at thrift stores if I'm lucky. This doesn't happen very often, it has to be a really good day for that. Other places I will find them are at flea markets or stores similar to flea markets. And also, I get a lot of them through a Canadian app where you can sell things locally. If I had to compare it to anything, I would guess it's kind of similar to Craigslist, but I've never used Craigslist, so I guess I wouldn't really know. Or Facebook Marketplace, that's a better comparison because Craigslist is considered sketchy. Facebook Marketplace isn't. It's a lot like Facebook Marketplace, but it's just in Canada. Question number 17 is, do you have any LPS on your wish list? And yes, I have way too many. I could sit here and list a bunch all day long, but if I had to narrow it down to a few, the first ones that I think of are these two Cocker Spaniels, this King Charles Spaniel, and this Australian Bunny. But I also definitely think of this short hair now that I think about it. And like 5,000 others that I could list, but I'll spare you. Question number 18 is, what is your spending limit on LPS? And I would say, I feel like I again kind of answered this by mistake earlier, but I don't think I could see myself ever going over like $10 for a single LPS, 12 at most, and that would only be if it's one that's like really, really rare or sought after. And the person was aiming it a little bit higher, but like it's still really cheap for it, you know? But even then, I like to go for a lot cheaper than that, and I try to aim for somewhere between 50 cents to like $3. I like looking for deals like 3 for $10 or things like that. If it's for a lot though, I would say the very top of my limit is like $100, and that's typically only if I can make the money back. I usually don't like to spend more than like $30, $40 on stuff like that. Question 19 is, what is your favorite type of LPS? So this is talking LPS molds. I don't have a single favorite type, so I'm going to list a few. I always loved my short hair cats and Cocker Spaniels, but aside from that I would say bonbon cats, deer, lamb, huskies, and probably the floppy ear bunnies. Those are what's coming to mind right now at least. And then finally, the last question, question number 20, is if you could have any LPS Tubers collection, whose would it be? Okay, I was going to say easy, LPS Hannah's, obviously, but then I reconsidered. I would definitely want LPS Pink Diamonds collection. So I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's absolutely insane. She literally has an LPS store, like she has multiple of each new in-box pet, I swear. And I'm convinced, like I'm thoroughly convinced she has every LPS on the planet, so I'm very jealous. But anyways, that covers all of the questions in this tag. I know that I had a lot of fun answering all of them, and I hope that you guys enjoyed listening to my answers too. I really encourage you to go try this tag out because honestly, I don't see anybody do it, and it has some pretty fun questions. And as I always say, thank you so much for watching. I love you all a lot, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!